morning students. Today we have moved to chapter 4, that is chemical bonding. This is a very important chapter which is as a whole the chapter is included for internal assessment as well as for your final board exam. So let's move into chemical bonding. See, what is a chemical bond? A chemical bond is an attractive force which is going to hold your atoms, molecules or ions in different chemical species. This is called as a chemical bond. So what is a chemical bond, children? It's an attractive forces which is going to hold your atoms and ions in different chemical species is called as chemical bonding. And different scientists have given their own approaches to chemical bonding. The first scientist is Quetzal-Lewis approach to chemical bonding. What does these scientists say? See, Lewis postulated that an atom try to achieve octet configuration when they are linked by chemical bonds. We have already discussed about noble gases which have octet configuration. Octet configuration is nothing but 8 configuration. Their outermost valence shell should have 8 configuration. Then they are stable. When they are stable, they will be non-reactive, so they are inert. So what does Lewis postulate? Lewis has postulated that an atom try to achieve its noble gas configuration, that is it gains octet configuration when it is linked by means of chemical bonds. Okay. Now see, this is an example. First we have hydrogen atom whose atomic number is 1. First is what? Hydrogen atom. What is hydrogen atom's atomic number? The atomic number of hydrogen is 1. So when you see the outermost shell, we have 1 electron there. Okay, now it has gained 1 more electron which is given in a light thing to attain stable gas configuration. Now carbon's atomic number is 6. Can you see the innermost shell which can accommodate 2 electron and the outermost shell? What is the remaining? 6 minus 2. So 4 is filled in the outermost shell. Okay. Now third one is nitrogen. Nitrogen's atomic number is 7 and innermost shell can accommodate 2. So 7 minus 2, 5. So 5 is filled in the outermost shell. And last is oxygen atom. What is oxygen's atomic number? It is 8. So how will we fill that 8? 2 electrons will be filled in the inner shell and 8 minus 2, 6. So 6 is filled in the outermost shell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay. So this is how we will be filling the electrons. Now what is a big deal in this? What is the octet rule? Octet rule states that an atom tend to gain or lose or share electrons so that it will have 8 electrons each. Like how we say to children, you read, you write, but somehow you have to get marks. In the same way, what does octet rule says? Your octet rule says that an atom should lose an electron or gain an electron or share an electron, but my intention is it should be in octet configuration. So that is the octet rule. What is octet rule? Atoms tend to lose an electron or gain an electron or share an electron to achieve stable octet configuration. Now say for example, I told you your carbon's outermost shell is having 4 because 2 is filled in the inner shell and the remaining 4 is there. So how many electrons it need to achieve stable configuration? 4 plus 4, 8. So it needs 4 more electrons to achieve stable configuration. Now moving to nitrogen, nitrogen's atomic number is 6. In the inner shell it has got 2, in the outer shell it has got 5. So how many electrons it need so that it achieve octet configuration? It needs 3 electrons. 5 plus 3 is 8 to achieve stable octet configuration. Moving to oxygen, oxygen's atomic number is 8. 2 is filled in the inner shell and remaining 6 is filled in the outer shell. 6 plus 2 is equal to 8. So your oxygen needs 2 more electrons to gain octet configuration. So you understood octet configuration. An atom should lose an electron or gain an electron or share an electron to achieve stable gas configuration. I mean noble gas configuration. In the periodic table we have already remembered about noble gas configuration, that is Nina, Meena and Karina Ka X-ray Rangeen. Okay. What are that? Helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon. Okay. So noble gases, they will achieve the noble gas configuration. Here we have cited 3 examples. Now this is how to fill the electron. See, I have already told till I have already explained for nitrogen, we have explained for oxygen, we have explained for carbon. These are the remaining example. This is your hydrogen and this is your helium. Say for example lithium's configuration is 3. How will you fill? Innermost shell should have 2. So 2 and outermost 1 will be gone. Okay. Beryllium's is 4. So innermost will have 2 and outermost will have 2. 2 plus 2, 4. Done. Now boron's configuration is 6. How that will be filled? Innermost shell will be having 2 and the outermost shell will be having 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boron's configuration is 5. That is boron's atomic number is 5. So how will you fill that 5? 2 will be in the inner shell and 3 will be in the outer shell. Now let me tell one more example. See, these are the examples where the second shell is filled. We have filled it till the second shell. Okay. Now for hydrogen and helium we have only 1s. So we have stopped with 1s configuration. We have moved to second subshell here. And these are the examples where we'll be starting with the third shell. Okay, I'll tell you one example. Sodium's atomic number is 11. So how will you fill? Innermost shell will be having 2. Outermost will be having 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. Remaining 1 will be gone into the third subshell. Okay, clear? Let me explain sodium again. Sodium's atomic number is 11. So how will you fill that 11? Innermost shell 2. Then next shell 8. So 8 plus 2, 10. The third shell will be having 1 remaining. So done. Now for magnesium it is 12. So how will you fill? 2, 8, 2. Done. Then for aluminium it is 13. So 2, 8, 3. Then silicon 14, 2, 8, 4. Phosphorus it is 15. So 2, 8 and 5. Next sulfur it is 16. So 2, 8, 6. Chlorine it is 17. 2, 8 and 7. For argon it is 18. 2, 8 and 8. So this is how we have filled the second shell. Slowly we have moved to the third shell for the next set of compounds. Okay. So till now what we have seen what is chemical bond, how chemical bond is significant as per our Quetzal-Lewis postulate, because they have told an atom with chemical bond is able to gain an octet configuration. Then we have seen octet configuration, how atoms are trying to reach octet configuration by gaining electrons. Next, Lewis dot structure. See, whenever I am going to draw a Lewis dot structure, the Lewis dot structure should contain the symbol of the element as well as one dot for each of the valence electron. If an atom is possessing one dot, it means it is having one valence electron. And I will be writing the symbol of the atom first, symbol of the element first, with a dot which indicates that this element is having this much number of valence electron. Now let me tell you some example. Now Lewis dot structure is meant for S and P block elements. Together they are called as representative elements. You know, group 1 and group 2, that is alkali and alkaline earth metals, along with your P block elements, that is group 13 to 18, they are collectively called as representative elements. So your Lewis dot structure is for representative elements. Okay. Now see, I have already discussed with you what are horizontal rows called. Horizontal rows are called as periods. What are vertical columns called? Vertical columns are otherwise called as Verghese, so groups. Okay, groups or families. Now see, I have put the symbol of lithium. Okay, lithium is NS2 configuration, NS1, and this is NS2. NS2, see, I will just see the configuration where I have indicated only S and P block elements. Yes, correct. So NS1 indicates it has one electron, valence electron in the S orbital. So how lithium is indicated? Li and one dot. So what does this shows, children? Lithium is having one valence electron. Okay, clear? Now moving to the second element, it is beryllium. Beryllium's configuration is NS2. So how will I indicate? Be, one dot this side and one dot right hand side. Okay, so its valence shell is indicated as Be, this side one dot and that side one dot. Clear? Now boron, what is boron's configuration? It is NS2NP1. What is boron's configuration? NS2NP1. So how boron is indicated? See, boron and 3 valence electrons are indicated as one in the left hand side, one in the right hand side, one in the top. Okay. Now carbon, it is indicated of, like, you know, the dots are surrounded by carbon. Carbon is surrounded by 4 dots, which means it has got 4 valence electron. We have already seen in the previous slide how did I fill a carbon. Innermost shell was having 2 and the outermost shell 4. So how many electrons are present in the valence shell? 4 electrons. And how 4 electrons of carbon is indicated? It is indicated as dots as per our Lewis dot structure. Now fluorine, it is Ns2Np5. So Ns2Np5. So how many electrons should I fill? 7 valence electrons are there. So how they have filled? 2, 4, 6 and 7. This is how you have to fill. Now this is a neon. Neon's configuration is, neon is a noble gas. So its configuration should be Ns2Np6. So 8. So 8 number is indicated. See, neon is surrounded by 8 electrons, 2, 4, 6 and 8. So this is how your Lewis dot structures are drawn. How Lewis dot structures are drawn? You need to indicate the symbol of the element surrounded by the dot, which is going to indicate the number of valence electron. Okay. Now these are the other examples, that is sodium, magnesium, aluminium, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine and argon. Okay. See, argon is also a noble gas, correct? So how they have indicated argon's configuration? See, 8 configuration. Exactly like neon, you have to indicate 8 electrons which should surround your argon. Now this is a clear cut, whatever the picture we have seen in the previous slide, the same picture this is. See your hydrogen's number 1, so 1 valence electron, and lithium's number, beryllium, see boron, carbon's 4 valence electron, nitrogen's 5 valence electron, oxygen 6 valence electron, neon is having octet, your argon is having octet and the remaining thing. Okay. Yeah. Now this is an indication for the number. This is an example, or this is a slide which shows you Lewis dot structures of various metals, non-metals and metalloids. Okay. Metals, okay, these are metals, and non-metals, and your non-metals are indicated by yellow color, and metalloids. Oh, okay. Next is we have seen Lewis dot structure. What about the other fellow, that is Cousel? What is about Cousel's chemical bonding? See, in the periodic table we have electronegative compounds and highly electropositive compounds, which we have discussed in chapter 3. Okay, so which elements are highly electronegative? Halogens are highly electronegative. Which elements are highly electropositive? Our noble gases, I mean the alkali metals. Alkali metals are electropositive. So let me repeat again. We have two extremes, highly electronegative elements and highly electropositive elements. Electronegative elements are halogens, chloride, bromide, iodide, okay, sulfide, all these will be indicated by a minus. So they are highly electronegative. And coming to electropositive, we have alkali metals. So these electronegative elements and electropositive elements are separated by means of noble gases in the periodic table. So how an electronegative halogens, from an electronegative halogen, what will you get? You will be getting a negative ion. From electropositive alkali metals, what will you get? You will be getting a positive ion. Means what? Your electronegative element like halogen has donated. How they become electronegative? When they will become electronegative? When they have donated an electron or when they have gained an electron. Just think out of it. When I will become negative? When I have given a proton. When I have given a proton, then the number of protons and the electron should be equal. I have given out one proton, so electrons will be dominant in me, so I will be possessing a negative charge. Done. When I will become positive, when I have given out one electron, I have given out one of the negative charge, so which is dominant here? Positive charge is dominant here, so I will be positive. So this is what in the slide. See the formation of negative ion from halogen atom and positive ion from an alkali metal atom. This is associated with either gain of electron or loss of electron by the respective atom. True? Yes, this is true. Now, and this negative ion and positive ion, which is formed by the loss or gain of electron, can be stabilized. How they will be stabilized? They have to achieve noble gas configuration. Now, see, in noble gases, that is helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon. In that, helium is an exception because it has only two. It has only duplet of electrons. They have particularly stable octet configuration, that is Ns2 and P6. We have discussed this many times. So, what is the intention of Cousel's theory is, he want to make sure that an electronegative halogen atom and an electropositive alkali metal, they are separated by means of noble gases, and they will be becoming positive ion and negative ion as per their convenience of losing or gaining an electron. Henceforth, they will be achieving stable gas configuration, that is they will be moving to Ns2 NP6 configuration. So how this negative ion and positive ions are stabilized? They will be stabilized by means of electrostatic attraction. Okay, the negative ion and positive ion formed will be stabilized by means of electrostatic attraction. Now this is your Russell scheme. Say for example sodium. This is the configuration of sodium. Sodium's number is 11. Yes, 11. No, sodium is 11. Yeah. See, now this is the configuration, neon and 3s1. Now your sodium is going to lose one of the electron here. It is going to lose this one electron. So it becomes neon's configuration. This one electron is removed, so it becomes neon's configuration. Now imagine the chlorine's configuration. Chlorine has gained one electron to become Cl minus. Its configuration is neon 3s2 3p5. To be very literally, should I tell you, chlorine's atomic number is 17. Its number is 17. So what it has got, it has gained one electron. So this 3p6 is becoming 3p5 has become 3p6, or otherwise I can call this configuration as organs configuration. Okay, clear? Let me repeat your Russell scheme. See, sodium's whose configuration is Ne, that is neon. I think I have told in the chapter 3. No need to write every time 1s2, 2s2, 2p2 like that. So when a common format is going to follow for certain elements, I can replace it with the term neon because it's going to be the configuration of neon. So I have written as neon 3s1. This is the configuration of sodium. Now sodium is going to lose one of the electrons. So it becomes neon's configuration. Means what? This one electron is removed. So sodium becomes sodium plus and electron minus. Clear? Now what happens to chlorine? This is your chlorine's configuration, that is neon 3s2 3p5. When it has gained electron, this 3p5 will become 3p6. Okay, the entire configuration can be written as organs configuration. So Cl plus E minus gives Cl minus. So how can I write Na plus Cl minus gives sodium chloride here, or Na plus and Cl minus here, the positive charges are neutralized. So it can be written as NaCl. Okay, this is your Russell's scheme. Okay, now we have been discussing from the second slide that due to the formation of chemical bond, an atom tries to achieve the stable octet configuration by means of ionic bonds or by covalent bonds. So in the next upcoming slides, we will be discussing about our ionic bonds and covalent bonds. Okay, what are ionic bonds? Ionic bonds are present in ionic compounds. How are ionic compounds formed? See, ionic compounds are formed when a metal reacts with a non-metal. Okay, when M reacts with Nm, that is metal, when it reacts with a non-metal, then I will be getting an ionic compound. See, for example, sodium chloride is an ionic compound, Na plus and Cl minus. It's an ionic compound, and ionic bond exists in ionic compound. Now, see, metals try to lose electrons so as to match the number of valence electron to the nearest noble gases. I am a metal. What is my intention? I have to lose my electron so that I'll be close to my friend who is nothing but our noble gas, because noble gas, I have told you, metals and non-metals are separated by noble gas. Which is closer to me? Which noble gas is closer to me? I want to reach his configuration, so I'll try to lose as many number of electrons such that I'll be close to my friend's configuration. That's it. See, when you lose an electron, what will be formed, children? Positive ions will be formed. Say for example, group 1 metals will become +1. Group 2 metals will become +2 ions, and group 13 elements will become +3 ions. So this is how they try to attain their nearest noble gas configuration. Okay, clear? So metals try to reach noble gas configuration by losing an electron. Group 1 lose 1 electron, group 2 lose 2 electrons, while group 13 lose 3 electrons to achieve noble gas configuration. Yeah, this is an example again with the formation of sodium atom. As I have already discussed with you, its number is 11. So how you need to fill the shell? Inner shell 2, outer shell 8, and 1 electron will be there. Now I need to move the sodium. Its configuration is close to neon's configuration. So sodium tries to lose one of the electron to become sodium plus. Now its configuration is close to neon, so it's done. Okay, clear? So sodium's configuration is 11, inner shell 2, next shell 8 plus 2 10, the remaining 1 is in the outer shell. Now, in order to reach its nearest noble gas configuration, neon, it's enough for sodium to lose one electron. Fine, it will become neon's configuration. So it lost one electron, so it becomes neon's configuration. So instead of 11, it became 10. It has reached to noble gas configuration. Okay. Now, this is a second example for magnesium atom. How magnesium atom tries to achieve its friend's configuration. Its friend is also neon only. See, magnesium's configuration is 12. See, this is Lewis dot structure. The two valence electrons are represented here. See, since its atomic number is 12, it is represented as inner shell 2, outer shell 8, remaining 2 went to the out. Now, it is trying to lose this 2 electrons, so it becomes 2, 8, which is nothing but the configuration of neon. So, it becomes Mg2+. Okay, clear? Very easy concept. So, magnesium's atomic number is 12. How it has filled the orbital? 2, 8 and 2. It wants to become 2, 8 so that it will be close to neon. It will be equal to neon. For that, it needs to get rid of 2 electrons. When it has removed 2 electrons, it becomes Mg2+. Okay. Now, these are the examples of group 1. As I have already told you, group 1 will lose 1 electron to become plus 1 ion. That is plus 1 ions. Group 2 will lose 2 electrons so that they will be becoming plus 2 ions. Group 3 will be losing group 13 will be losing 3 electrons so that they will be becoming plus 3 ions. Okay. Yes, children. Next, ions from non-metal ions. Okay. When you look into ionic compounds, your non-metals which are present in group 15, 16 and 17, they gain electrons from metals. Till now I was telling about how a metal lose electron to achieve stable gas configuration. So this slide is going to tell me how metals gain electrons so that they achieve stable gas configuration. Say for example, non-metals try to add up electrons to achieve the octet arrangement, so that they will become how their group 1, group 2 and group 13 become plus 1, plus 2 and plus 3. Since they are gaining electrons, the negative charge is predominant, so they will be becoming minus ions, minus 1 ion, minus 2 ion and minus 3 ions. Yeah, once again, yeah children, yeah. See, this is an example for fluoride ion. Now, fluoride's configuration is 9. So, how they have represented 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is outermost valence electrons are indicated. 2 will be present in the inner shell. It has gained 1 electron. Okay. So, fluorine's number is 9. The outermost 7 electrons are indicated here. It has gained 1 electron. So, it becomes 2, 8 configuration. It was 2, 7. It want to go to the nearest configuration, neon's configuration, that is 2, 8. So it has gained 1 electron. So it became now 2, 4, 6 and 8. So which is nothing but neon's configuration. So it becomes 1 minus. Okay, it becomes 1 minus ion. Yes, children. So we have till now we have seen how metals and non-metals are trying to achieve their octet configuration by losing electron and by gaining electron. So this slide is about ionic bond. In between slide I told you chemical element is trying to become octet configuration. It is trying to stabilize its chemical bond. It's trying to achieve stable configuration by ionic bond. Till now we have seen about metals and non-metals, how they achieve stable configuration. This is about ionic bond. See, ionic bond is formed between atoms of metals and non-metals which vary in electronegativity. Now I have a metal. See, I have a non-metal. A metal and a non-metal's electronegative values are highly different. So in that case, ionic bond will be formed. We have already seen ionic bond will be formed in ionic compounds like sodium chloride. The positive and negative charges are stabilized by means of electrostatic attraction. Here, the ionic bond is formed between atoms of metals and non-metals which vary significantly in their electronegativity. And how bond is formed? Ionic bond is formed by transfer of electrons. It is formed by transfer of electrons. And you know, whenever an ionic bond is formed, there is always a formation of charged ion in all state, and they are conductors. They have high melting point. Example for ionic bond is sodium chloride, calcium chloride, and potassium oxide. This you have to remember, because when I am going to explain about the other kind of bond, it will be exactly the opposite. What are the 3 points here? Ionic bond is formed between atoms of metal and non-metal, which vary significantly in their electronegativity. And point number 2, you will be getting ions and they will be conductors. And point number 3, they have a high melting point, and here bond is formed by complete transfer of electrons. Example we have seen. Now see, this is how your ionic bond is formed between sodium and chloride. Okay. Ionic bonds are nothing but one dog will be greedy, means one atom will be very greedy, such that it is trying to snatch all the electrons from the other atom. Okay, because they never share, it is complete transfer of electrons from one atom to other atom. So I can tell one atom is like a greedy dog which is trying to snatch it. Okay, snatch the electron from the other atom. Yeah, this is a typical example for sodium and chloride. Yeah, just imagine your sodium. In the innermost shell, it has got 2 electrons. In the innermost shell, how many electrons are present? 2 electrons are present. And outermost is having 8. 8 plus 2, 10, and remaining 1 is present in the outermost. So now I have written the configuration of sodium as 11. Done. Now chlorine atom is 17. 2 is written in the inner shell, right? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 plus 2, 10. Remaining 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 is filled in the outer shell. Now what happens, as I have already told you, ionic bond is formed by the complete transfer of electrons from one atom to another atom. In the previous slide, I just told you your chloride is a greedy dog. So what happens? Electrons are transferred from sodium atom to chloride. So sodium becomes Na plus, Cl atom becomes Cl minus. So I have got the sodium chloride. Okay, electron from sodium is transferred to chloride. So there is a charge imbalance in each atom. Na becomes Na plus, Cl becomes Cl minus. So these are nothing but formation of ions. As we have already seen the criteria, there is a formation of ion Na plus and Cl minus. Electron is transferred, so there is a formation of ions. And now in chloride, now I am going to deal with the second bond, that is covalent bond. Covalent bond is formed between 2 atoms. See, for example, I have 2 chloride atoms. We know the outermost shell of chloride should contain 7, right? Because it's 17, 2 is in the inner shell, 8 is in the second shell, and 17 is in the third, 7 is in the third shell. So this odd pair, this one pair, and this chloride atoms one pair will be sharing these electrons between themselves. As a result, I'll be getting a chloride molecule. Okay, chloride atom and chloride atom together, they started sharing their electrons, and as a result, I'll be getting a chloride molecule. Sharing of pair of electrons, and as a result, there is a formation of molecule. Okay, children. So till now, what we have seen what is a chemical bond. What is Lewis dot structure? Lewis dot structure is nothing but writing the symbol of the element and representing the valence electrons as dot. Okay. Now what is Quesel's scheme? How sodium becomes sodium plus, how chloride becomes chloride minus. So an element with a chemical bond try to achieve its stable octet configuration by gaining or losing an electrons. Say for example, group 1 lose 1 electron, group 2 lose 2 electron, and group 13 lose 3 electrons. And what happens to non-metals? How they try to gain electrons and achieve stable gas configuration. They try to gain electrons and reach the nearest noble gas. Try to attain nearest noble gas configuration. Then I was telling about ionic bond. Whenever you think of ionic bond, think of a greedy dog. Okay. So there is nothing but complete transfer of electron from one atom to other atom. Always charged ions are formed. They are conductors. They have high melting point. Example which I have discussed with you is sodium chloride. I have started with covalent bond, where there is a formation of, when a covalent bond is formed, when there is a mutual sharing of electrons between two atoms. Say for example, two chloride atoms started to share their electrons. As a result, you would be getting a chloride molecule. Thank you, children.